Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell for Distraction. This special episode is sponsored by Landmark College in beautiful Putney, Vermont, the college of choice for students who learn differently. Joining me once again is our great friend Jessica McCabe from How to ADHD. It's wonderful to have you with us again, Jessica.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. It's always a pleasure.
Well, it's always a pleasure for us. So today we're going to be talking about the positive effect of physical exercise on learning.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to validate for anybody who's like, yes, I know I'm supposed to be exercising and it's really hard. Yes, it is really hard. It's really hard to exercise regularly for everybody. Otherwise, we'd all be in amazing shape. But it is especially hard for ADHDers and especially hard for ADHD students because time is a huge factor. Like, where do you fit it in your schedule? It seems like an optional thing. And when you've got a test due and a project and, all these different things going on, it can be really easy to be like, okay, going to the gym is like the first thing to go. It also, even if you do have time, it requires planning, like knowing where both of our tennis shoes are at the same time. I can't tell you how many times I've wasted, 10 minutes looking for shoes and then I'm late to the class and it just doesn't happen. Exercise itself can be super repetitive and boring too, which we're not great at boring. And it can also bring up shame issues. Like if we haven't done it for a while, it can feel really weird, like going to the gym or going to a class where everybody's already been doing it and is in shape and we're not. And then just initiating, like it requires self-starting, which again, we're not necessarily great at. And also a lot of the time we're tired. ADHD can make it super hard to get enough sleep. So if you had only 4 hours of sleep, you don't feel good. You don't feel like going to the gym. But it's important to try and overcome some of these obstacles because it actually really is super important for us, especially if we're in school, because exercise reduces anxiety. And test anxiety, we know now from the research, is one of the reasons we don't do well on tests. And exercise can calm our nerves so that we perform better. So, rather than that last minute cramming for 15 minutes, it might actually be better to go for a quick run. They are starting to do quite a bit of research on the effects of exercise in ADHD. And so far, it seems like the kind that works the best is intense cardio. That seems to be the most effective for producing those neurotransmitters. But also really effective are complex activities that get your brain engaged, like rock climbing. Or you can do things like tennis, which are both. They really engage your brain and they get you that cardio. And the effects usually last, it depends on the person, but for an hour or two after working out. So it's especially effective right before something that requires a lot of focus. So when I first started How to ADHD, what I would do is I'd go play tennis and then I would come home and I'd grab something to eat and immediately just write because that was the only time I had any hope of writing effectively was right after tennis. And here's the really interesting part. So long term too, it's effective. So maybe you don't have anything going on that day or the next day and you're I can just take a break. Maybe it's summer. I don't have to, work out for a while. But long term, if you exercise regularly, your brain produces something called BDNF, which is, I think it's brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And it's basically miracle grow for your brain. So exercise actually grows your brain. It's not an instant thing. It's not it's not like the Hulk. Your brain's not going to expand exponentially, but it does make a difference. Exercise is really important.
Yeah, my friend John Rady wrote a whole book about this called Spark, the revolutionary new science of exercise and the brain. And he summarizes just a ton of research. And you don't have to go to the gym. You can just stand up next to your desk and do some jumping jacks and run in place and then sit back down and start working again. And that quick burst of exercise kind of pushes the reset button on your brain.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip. And that's something that I would suggest too is maybe if the idea of exercise feels really intimidating to you, because I know it can for me, especially if I haven't for a while, redefining what we think of as exercise can help. Anytime we walk to the fridge, technically that's exercise. It's not dedicated exercise, but yeah, just doing a push-up. You can start small and be okay, I'm working out again. So yeah, starting small is a really good way to do it. Like, and doing what you like too. So yeah, like some kinds of exercise are more effective than others, but it's not effective at all. Exercise we don't do. So it's better to actually dance around our living room than to not run on the treadmill. And because we get bored easily, again, it helps to include variety. So I love fitness classes at the gym for this reason. So I can do yoga one day and Zumba the next. Like, I don't get bored. Whereas when I was doing, regular strength training or running on the treadmill every time, like, I got bored out of my mind. And then I wouldn't go. Another, I think, important tip for making it easier is to reward yourself. We know that ADHDers don't do well with goals that take a super long time to achieve. We have shorter time horizons. Things are either now or they're not now. Like, it's harder for us than for most people to sustain focus over time. So it's important to reward ourselves for the effort, not for achieving the goal. If you hate like working out on your own, if you're bored out of your mind working out in your living room, then yeah, go find a gym. But basically the goal is to have more to look forward to than obstacles in our way. And that can make it a lot easier.
Right. We should mention Landmark College while we're talking. The college for students who learn differently in beautiful Putney, Vermont. It gives me one more reason to get a dog. I'm always pushing dogs, but if you have a dog, you can always walk that dog, and that's another built-in way of getting exercise.
Yeah, that's been really helpful for me. I have a dog, and she makes me get out of bed in the morning when I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. And then she goes to the door and rings the bell, and I'm like, okay, fine. And before I know it, like, I'm on a walk, but I never would have just gotten up to go on that walk by myself.
Yeah. It's one of the many, many reasons for having a dog. I as listeners know, I love dogs, and I think everybody should have a dog.
So, that's the other thing, too, is, like, ask for help. With any of this stuff, there's ADHD challenges that get in the way, so talk to somebody about what you're struggling with. If you're going to college and really can't find a way to fit exercise into your schedule, ask them about accommodations. Colleges like Landmark are more than willing to help out and help you find room in your schedule to do that because they understand how important this is to your learning experience.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica. And Jessica will be back again very soon for another special episode sponsored by Landmark College. And remember to subscribe to Distraction if you haven't already, so you don't miss any of our wonderful episodes. And be sure to check out Jessica's website, howtoadhd.com. That's howtoadhd.com. Jessica, I can't tell you how many people have learned about ADHD from your terrific work. You've really brought it to a tremendous group of people, and you have a marvelous way of communicating that a lot of people really relate to. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, it's been really exciting getting to introduce people to the tribe because I feel like once you understand how your brain works, you can work with it so much better.
And again, thank Landmark College for sponsoring this episode. And please, listeners, go to lcdistraction.org to learn more.